Thank you so much, Brian, and thank you, Pastor, for being with us. I wish I was up there with you guys. I missed the snow coming from the Northeast myself, and boy, we could be children again, Pastor. We're the same age. We could have a snowball fight. But in any case, the question I have for you is this. It lends itself to what you were talking about earlier with what happened over Norway, the signs in the heavens questions. You've spoken quite a bit of late in regard to the red giant, the planet in the Orion constellation, Betelgeuse, and I used to look at the stars a lot. I wasn't into astrology. I mean, I just like looking at the constellations and the stars and what have you. And I always used to look at Orion's belt a lot because it would, at night, I could come out in front of my house in California and look down the street and boom, there it was. And I'd always noticed that star, but quite frankly, since you've been talking about it, I've taken note of it much more so. And I have never seen a star act the way that is acting now. I mean, I've been watching it closely, and I've done some research and reading on it, and there's scientists saying, oh, well, it's going to go, but it could be 10,000 years. Quite frankly, I've never in my life, as much as I've looked at the stars, and I used to have a computerized Meade telescope, so that's how seriously I used to look at them. I've never seen a star do what this one is doing, and that thing looks like it can go any moment. And I've looked at it with field glasses. It looks like there's stuff shooting off of it, every color of the rainbow, not only red. Would you know any more about that, Pastor, and see any significance in that in these times? Thank you so much, and thank you, Brian, and I'll listen for your answer.
Go ahead.
Okay, thanks, Gary. It's always good to hear from you. Yes, I can tell you a few things about Orion. Actually, Orion's an interesting constellation anyway because of what it represents. It represents the great hunter, which is Nimrod. And of course, Nimrod is another form of Baal. And if you look up in the sky, it's easy to find Orion. It's a winter constellation. And the reason Orion was so popular is because it can be seen in both hemispheres at the same time. In fact, it's right on the ecliptic line. You know, the Earth is tilted 23.5 degrees. And so it forms, you'd have to look at a picture, you can see it better than I can describe it probably. But because the Earth is tilted 23.5 degrees, you don't just have what's called the celestial equator, you have an ecliptic line, which is it was called the path of the gods by the ancients. And it's the path that the sun and the planets move along. And the easy way to find that path is find Orion, and it's easy to find with the 3 belt stars. And you can, if you connect those belt stars together, they sit right on that ecliptic line. That is the path that all the planets move across, and the sun and the moon all move along that line. And those 3 stars, belt stars, Alnilam, Alnitak, and Mintaka, are very, very easily distinguished. And then in that constellation of Orion, there is a giant red star. And it's been active lately. Scientists always put a lot of zeros after everything that they talk about because they always push it off into the future. Either things are billions of years old or they're not going to happen for billions of years. They never deal with the present. But anyway, it's been acting very strangely lately, and if this star in Orion begins to fully manifest and would begin to nova and supernova, you will end up with a situation, astronomers know this, and I was just reading about this recently, where it will never be dark on the Earth. It'll be, even when the sun goes down, it'll be light enough from this brilliant star, which will become such a large mass of light that it'll never get dark anywhere on Earth. And I find that rather interesting too. I don't know if that's going to happen, but there are signs in the sun, in the moon, and in the stars. And there's a pattern there. Orion is the hunter. Astronomy is not difficult, because if you just find Orion and then you say, okay, there's the hunter, what is he hunting? He's hunting the bull, Taurus. And of course the primary star in Taurus is Aldebaran, the big red bull's eye. In fact, many of the stars are named with names that start with an A-L because they're Arabic. The Roman Catholic Church outlawed astronomy as well as astrology. And so the Arabs picked it up, and they named most of the stars. So a lot of them will have, like the belt stars, El-Nilam, El-Nitak, and Mintaka, Aldebaran, the bullseye. And then he has his hunting dog with him, Orion the hunter, and that's Canis Major. And of course the primary star is Sirius, the dog star. He has this little hunting dog with him, Canis Minor, leaping at his shoulders, with the primary star Procyon. And so you begin to learn your way around. You map out the sky, you can see a pattern in all of this. And if we know what to watch for, we can see signs in the sun, moon, and stars. But you're right, Gary. Orion is behaving very strangely. The spiritual implication, of course, is Orion being a form of, or actually being another name for Nimrod, who was the king of the Babylonian Empire, the Sumerian Babylonian Empire, long before Babylon became an empire under Nebuchadnezzar. It is a kind of an amazing thing that constellation sits right on the ecliptic line and has all of those idolatrous connections to it. And that's the one that's manifesting right now. Okay?
Oh, wow. All right. Well, thank you very much, Gary, for that question. Very interesting. Isn't it obvious lately there's just been so many signs? That's what, the Bible says. That's what Jesus says. When you see these things begin to happen, look up, for your redemption draweth nigh. God will show signs in the sun, the moon, and the stars, and definitely in the skies. So thank you very much, Gary. He writes, thank you, Pastor Dave. I appreciate your knowledge on the subject. We're going to go to GFB, or Griff B. I don't know how to pronounce Geoff.
Oh, it's Jeff.
Jeff.
Yeah. Another
name.
Another way of spelling it. Yep.
Jeff B. Okay. Someone once told me we Aussies shouldn't say crikey. They said it's taking Christ's name in vain, and that's so silly. If crikey first occurred when some bloke got scared by a 20-foot croc that snapped in his face. So, have you heard anything on that word before, or?
Well, there are a lot of variations that sound like the word Christ, and I think sometimes people are stretching things a little bit too far. I haven't heard that one before, to be honest with you. I'm not familiar with that. But I can say that a lot of people carry things a little bit too far. And a lot of times we have to, really try to measure all things by truth. And I don't know for sure that it is a bad word. So I just don't know what the origin of it is. If it came from a crocodile, there's nothing wrong with it. So, but yeah, that's basically it. There are some words that are definitely bad and takeoffs on the word Christ, and I don't even like to say what they are, so I won't. But more importantly, it's the spirit that is behind what words are said. In other words, it's the anger spirit or whatever is manifesting there that's so dangerous. Okay?
All right. Well, Jeff, hopefully that answered your question there. We're going to go on to Jasmine's question here. Jasmine 049631 writes, Pastor, God bless you and our sister Shirley.